Hey guys, this is not going to be a long video, okay? Because I just ate some food and I am very full and happy, okay? I just came on here because I have to deliver this message, okay? But after this, I'm going to be chilling, all right? So, this video is going to be about how do we deal with rejection. Okay, this is a very important video if you know that you have come from a situation where you were abandoned as a child, whether it be from a mother or father figure, where you feel emotional neglect. This video could come up in your algorithm or just in your frequency and your resonance when you need to hear it. Okay, the question is how do I deal with rejection? Okay, use this as a prompt, and you can guys do this as a journal prompt if you like. Okay? Understanding this will minimize the casualties that you experience when you're dealing with others. And mind you, this video is going to have to do with you operating in humanity. Okay, so this is just to help navigate those emotional blockages that could cause you from being your best possible self. Okay? If your love is not returned from the person you poured it into, are you revengeful? Are you predatory? Right? Are you I don't know what other word to say, right? Because sometimes when you're not, if you're pouring your love into someone and they do not want you, for whatever reason that may be, you can internalize it and can become self deprecating. You could want to say, well, since I'm not getting it here, I'm going to go get it here. That idea of, if you break up with somebody that you get underneath a new one, it's terrible advice. Okay, because your heart belongs to something else, and now you're trying to supplement that with someone else's attention, time, energy, and attention. Okay, and that is just a casualty. All right, this is not a point of judgment. If you know this, I'm talking about you, it's not a point of judgment. It's just for you to observe and see so you can have the understanding for you to change your behavior. Okay, so if you know that your heart belongs to someone, it does not make sense to get into a new relationship with someone else. Okay, even though, like I said, everyone's going to be learning their lessons accordingly, but if I can provide you with this information now before you make a decision that's going to cause even more turmoil and casualties and, what's to say, a three or sword situation where you're in a love triangle and all of this unnecessary things. Okay. You can get the lesson now so that you don't have to really experience all of this in order to gain the understanding and ascend in consciousness. Okay? So I was also talking about emotional leakage. When you're trying to give that energy to a receiver that does not want to accept it. Okay, you cannot force someone to receive love, and this is not just for romantic relationships. This could be for friendships. If they aren't unable to receive love without being suspicious, without putting up a defense, maybe they don't feel like they're worthy of receiving love. There's many different factors in other people's world, but if you're showing love to someone and they are unable to receive it, you must call that energy back and redirect it accordingly. Okay? And most likely, the best way to get that back is to give it back to yourself. Okay? You cannot force love upon other people. Okay? And again, this was the first prompt where it was like, what do I do when I experience rejection? Make sure that's clear, because you're going to be creating this web of emotional strings, right? Where you're trying to give your heart to someone else, but you're using these other people for time, energy, attention, resources. You don't really like them. You're not in love with them because your emotional attachments with someone else. Okay? Unnecessary casualties. But I fully understand that everyone gets caught in that web because they need to gain a certain level of understanding and soul ascension. Okay, but I'm just telling you guys this now so that maybe you can get the lesson without having to experience all the heartache and all this emotional transmutation that has to happen. Okay. One good question for that is, why do you love that person, and what is the resonance that keeps you there? What is keeping the emotional ties there? Okay. Why do you love that person, and what is the resonance that keeps you? All right. Now, for a lot of us who spend a lot of time alone, or just we know ourselves. We know that our energy. We know our energy signature. We know the things that make us laugh and this and that. When you find that in another person, it's like gold, But maybe that person was just supposed to be a friend, or maybe that resonance was just supposed to be whatever hobby or love that you have, and that was it. It doesn't mean it has to turn into a romantic situation. But if it does, you also need to redirect and remember that you were a whole person before and after this romantic relationship. Okay? Especially if that person rejects you. It is a thing that automatically triggers your ego, where you're like, well, why not me? All right. And sometimes people react violently because it triggers the younger child within yourself that is not used to rejection or doesn't like the feeling of abandonment. Okay. And so it comes out like trauma. It comes out like you doing a tantrum, or getting violent, or, crying. I was a crier. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be mindful of this stuff, okay, in order to redirect. Like, oh, wait, it's okay. You could want to give love to someone and they may not want to receive it. You know what I mean? And actually, you should be more happy if they're being more upfront about it and more truthful about it, than having you in some weird limbo thing where they're pretending to be interested but knows that their heart is with someone else, or with something else, or just doesn't want that kind of attention from you. Okay? So just be prepared for that as you're walking these streets. Okay? Understanding rejection. All right? Okay, this is why you should minimize emotional casualties when leaving a relationship. If someone tells you they don't want to be with you, accept that. Don't have this long, prolonged thing where you're trying to figure it out, because I promise you the answers are going to come with or without them in your presence. Okay, have these things as clean as possible. Don't think about wondering what if. Now you're trying to entice yourself in some kind of illusion. Half the time, people don't even have to lie to you. You really would just be lying to yourself, trying to keep up a facade, okay? Because you want something to work out so good because you had an emotional connection, or whatever connection it would be. You feel like you cannot get that again with someone else. You will. Okay, so just be mindful of that, okay? Allow space and time to uncover the reason for the union and what ultimately led to the separation. Most of the time, we attract partners according to our own vibrational frequency. Okay? So if you have things in your shadow that you're not dealing with, your shadow is going to be calling the shots and the decisions that you make subconsciously. All right, this is why we go into the darkness, in order to shine light on those things and to be able to come back anew, which is the transmutation of that. Okay, if for example, if I haven't dealt with rejection or fully brought consciously how I feel about rejection, how I feel about love that's not returned or reciprocated, okay, or abandonment issues, my shadow self would then be longing for this connection. And then when it finally attached to someone that I actually want to have an emotional connection with, it can cause a lot of casualties and problems. All right, just because I haven't really sat down with myself and explored these ideas. Okay, so you want to think about what's the reason for the union? What was the connecting points? Did you enjoy this person's presence? If you didn't have a father or mother figure who was either emotionally or physically present, you may find a joy and a completeness in that scenario because it's the first time you actually experienced it. Okay? So it may feel as if that something was missing, but you can cultivate this on your own. Okay? This one person, just because they had this skill set or to be present, doesn't mean that no one else has it. Okay, it's just in your storyline you had to meet this particular person to uncover these ideas and understanding about yourself. Okay, so the reason for the union and why did you ultimately lead to the separation? What was it? Did the person reject you because they were not attracted to you, which is crazy, I know, but I don't mean they're crazy for not being attracted to you. What I'm saying is that if they connected with you, and usually you don't just get this stuff out of nowhere. Sometimes because we're not patient, we we get in sacral union or sexual union with people, and then afterwards you're like, I'm not attracted to you, which is crazy to me. But I know, double-edged sword, right? But either way, if that's the case, then you know that it's a wrap, right? You got to have that confidence within yourself that it doesn't matter who is rejecting you. You know who you are. Okay? And what is for you is going to be for you. Okay? So just avoid that. Avoid any self-deprecating things. People have every right to want what they want and blah, 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 blah. Okay? Closing out cycles require life lessons and newfound understanding. Observe what you perceive as love and avoid confusion. Whatever it is that you are perceiving as love, make sure that you guys are journaling, writing that stuff down. Okay? Because that's where the truth is. This is how you receive love. This is how you receive love. This is how you are making these connections with other people outside of yourself. Okay? That's it. This was supposed to be short and sweet. Your girl is about to go sit down a little bit, digest. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Goodbye.